Jin pulled his cargo ship into docking bay 12 and let out a long breath. The station called Nexus stretched out before him through the viewport. It was huge, built from metal and glass, spinning slowly in the darkness of space. Lights flickered from thousands of windows where aliens from dozens of worlds lived and worked. He had been here many times before. It was a good place to do business. Different species came here to trade goods, exchange information, and make deals. The station belonged to no one government, which made it useful. It also made it dangerous. Jin finished the docking procedure and grabbed his data pad. The cargo manifest showed everything in order. 300 units of medical supplies, 40 cases of rare metals, and 1 passenger. He walked back through his small ship to the passenger cabin. "We're here," he said, knocking on the door. Opened it, looking tired but excited. She was young, maybe 25, with bright eyes and quick hands that were always moving. She worked as a scientist, studying brains and nerves. This trip was important to her. She needed to get to a medical conference on the other side of the sector. "Thank you for the ride," she said, gathering her bags. "How long until we can leave again?" "A few hours. I need to unload the cargo and collect payment. Then we refuel and go." They walked down the ramp together. The docking bay smelled like oil and ozone. Other ships sat in their berths, some human-made, others designed by alien engineers. Jin could identify maybe half the species that built them. A docking officer approached. He was with gray skin and 4 arms. "Manifest." Jin handed over his data pad. The officer scanned it and nodded. "Bay fee is 50 credits. Cargo inspection in Bay 7. "Understood." Jin and made their way into the main station. The corridors were wide and tall, built to accommodate species of different sizes. A group of merchants walked past, their scales clicking against the floor. 2 traders argued in their musical language near a shop entrance. "I love places like this," said, looking around. "So many different people." Jin smiled but said nothing. He had learned to be more careful. Stations like this had rules, but they also had people who broke rules. The smart travelers kept their heads down and finished their business quickly. They found a small that served food for different species. Jin ordered something that looked like noodles, got a protein bar and a drink. They sat near a large window that looked out into space. "Have you heard about?" the server asked as he brought their order. He was human, middle-aged, with tired eyes. "No, who is that?" Jin asked. The server glanced around and lowered his voice. "Warrior. Works for the syndicate here. He runs the protection rackets, collects debts, hurts people who don't pay, but that's not the worst part." "What's the worst part?" asked. "No one has ever touched him in a fight, not once. He's been in maybe 200 battles. Other warriors, fighters, even assassins, doesn't matter. He moves too fast. Have these reflexes, see? They react before you even finish moving. By the time you throw a punch, he's already countered and broken your arm." Jin felt something cold in his stomach. "Why are you telling us this?" "Because the syndicate runs this station. If you're doing business here, you pay them. Just remember that. Don't cause trouble, pay what they ask, and you can leave safely." The server walked away, looked worried now. "It'll be fine," Jin said. "We unload, I get paid, we leave, simple." But nothing was ever simple. They finished eating and went to Bay 7. Jin's cargo was already being unloaded by station workers. A supervisor checked each container against the manifest. Everything seemed normal until a figure appeared at the bay entrance. He was massive, 7 feet tall, maybe more. His skin was dark green with scales that caught the light. He had a long snout filled with sharp teeth and eyes that were yellow and cold. He wore armor on his chest and arms, but his hands were bare. Each finger ended in a black claw. "That's him," whispered. "That's." The walked into the bay like he owned it. Behind him came a small merchant, one of the people. The merchant was shaking. "I told you," the merchant said, his voice high and frightened. I need 2 more days. The shipment was delayed. I can pay then. 2 days ago you said you needed 2 days, said. His voice was deep and rough. Today you say the same thing. I think you are lying. No, I swear on my family the shipment is coming. Grabbed the merchant by the front of his clothes and lifted him off the ground with one hand. Your family? Yes, let us talk about your family. Please, the merchant cried. Jin felt his jaw tighten. He knew he should look away, mind his own business. That was the smart thing to do, but he kept watching. A warrior stepped forward from the crowd that had gathered. They were known as fighters. They had 4 arms and tough skin like armor. This one wore the marks of a soldier. Put him down, they said. This is dishonorable. Dropped the merchant and turned to face the warrior. You want to teach me about honor. I want you to stop hurting people who cannot defend themselves. Then you defend him. What happened next took 4 seconds, maybe less. The moved first, all 4 arms striking at once, but was already somewhere else. His hand snapped out and hit the warrior's throat. Another strike to the knee, a third to the head. The fell like a tree cut down. No one in the crowd had even seen move. One moment the warrior was attacking. The next moment he was unconscious on the floor. Looked around at everyone watching. Does anyone else want to help this merchant? No one spoke. No one moved. Kicked the merchant's leg hard enough that Jin heard the bone crack. The merchant screamed. You have 1 day, said. Then I visit your family. He walked out of the bay. The crowd scattered. Someone called for a medical team. Jin realized his hands were shaking, not from fear, from anger. We should go, said quietly. They left the bay and went to find the cargo company's office. Jin needed his payment so they could leave this place. But when they arrived, a clerk gave him bad news. Your payment has been held, the clerk said. Held why? Station fees. There was a problem with your docking permit. There was no problem. I've used the same permit for 3 years. The clerk shrugged. You'll need to talk to station administration. Until then, no payment. Jin knew what this was. The syndicate was squeezing him. They did this to newcomers sometimes, finding excuses to take money. He could fight it through official channels, but that would take weeks. He didn't have weeks. He didn't even have days. Without payment, he couldn't buy fuel. Without fuel, he couldn't leave. And the longer he stayed, the more fees would pile up. It was a trap. Looked at him. What do we do? Jin didn't have an answer yet, but he knew he wouldn't let them win this easily. One way or another, he was getting off this station. He just didn't know the cost yet. Jin spent 2 hours arguing with station officials. Each one sent him to another office. Each office gave him a different excuse. The pattern was clear. Someone wanted him stuck here, and that someone had enough power to make the station's bureaucracy dance to their tune. He found in the waiting area outside the last office, reading something on her data pad. She looked up when he approached. Any luck? She asked. No, they want me to fill out forms that take 5 days to process. Then they'll review my case. Maybe. But the conference starts in 4 days. I have to be there. Jin sat down heavily in the chair next to her. I know, I'm sorry. A human woman walked up to them. She was in her 30s, with short black hair and sharp eyes. She wore a medical uniform with a badge that said Park Station Medical. You're Jin, right? The cargo hauler, she asked. Yeah, do I know you? No, but I know about you. Word travels fast on a station this size. You're the one who watched break that merchant's leg and didn't run away. I didn't do anything. That's not what people are saying. They say you looked angry, like you wanted to fight. Sat down across from them. That's a dangerous look to have around here. What do you want? Jin asked. To give you some friendly advice. The syndicate has eyes everywhere. If they think you're trouble, they'll make you pay. Whatever debt they've trapped you in, just pay it and leave. Don't be a hero. I don't have money to pay anything. That's the problem. Studied him for a moment, There might be one way out. Jin leaned forward. I'm listening. The syndicate runs fights in the arena, entertainment for the station. They like to put their champion against challengers. If you fight and survive 3 minutes, they clear your debt. It's supposed to be a show of mercy. But, Jin asked, but no one survives 3 minutes against. That's who you'd be fighting. Most challengers go down in 30 seconds. The record is 1 minute 40 seconds, and that guy was a professional soldier from a heavy-gravity world. Shook her head. That's insane, he can't fight. I'm just telling you the option, said. Take it or leave it. But if you don't do something, you're stuck here until your ship gets repossessed for unpaid fees. That's how the syndicate works. She stood up to leave. Jin called after her. Why did you tell me this? Paused. Because I'm tired of watching them hurt people, and because you're human. We're supposed to look out for each other out here, right? She walked away before he could respond. Grabbed Jin's arm. You're not seriously considering this. What choice do I have? There's always a choice. You could sell the ship, work off the debt another way, anything but fighting that monster. Jin pulled up his data pad and showed her the numbers. The debt increases every day I'm docked. Station fees, storage fees, processing fees. In a week, I'll owe more than the ship is worth. And even if I sold it, you'd be stuck here. No ride to your conference. I don't care about the conference if you're dead. I'm not going to die. How can you possibly know that? Jin was quiet for a moment. Then he said, when I was younger, before I became a hauler, I did something else. I competed. Competed in what? Taekwondo. I was pretty good, made it to nationals twice. I know how to fight. Looked at him like he'd grown a second head. Taekwondo, you did martial arts against other humans, is 7 feet tall with claws and reflexes that make him unbeatable. It's not the same thing. I know it's not the same, but it's something. And right now, something is better than nothing. They argued for another hour, but Jin's mind was made up. He found his way to the arena district of the station. The area was rougher than the commercial zones. Bars with loud music and flashing lights lined the streets. Groups of aliens stood on corners, watching everyone who passed. The arena itself was a large circular building. Above the entrance, holographic displays showed highlights from past fights. Jin watched a fighter, demolishing opponent after opponent. Each clip was brutal and quick. Inside, sat behind a desk. His skin was pale blue and his eyes were large and dark. You here to place a bet? I'm here to register as a challenger. This expression changed to something like pity. You sure about that, human? I'm sure. Name? Jin. Jin what? Just Jin. The type something into his terminal. Says here you have a debt with the station. 4,000 credits and growing. You understand the terms. Fight for 3 minutes, debt is cleared. Get knocked out or submit, the debt doubles. I understand. And you still want to do this? Yes. The printed out a document and pushed it across the desk. Sign here, medical waiver here and here. The fight is tomorrow night. Main event, be here 2 hours early. He paused, then added quietly, say goodbye to your friends tonight, human. No one touches. Jin signed the forms and left. He spent the rest of the day preparing. He found a quiet cargo bay and worked through his old training routines. Kicks, punches, footwork. His body remembered the movements even after years away from competition. But he was older now, slower, and he'd never fought anyone like. That evening found him in the cargo bay. She watched him practice for a few minutes before speaking. You're really doing this? Yeah. You're going to get hurt, badly. Probably. Then why? Jin stopped moving and looked at her. Because if I don't, I'm trapped here, is trapped here. The syndicate wins and they'll do this to someone else next week. Someone has to stand up eventually. That's very noble, also very stupid. Those two things go together a lot. Jin said with a small smile. Pulled out a medical kit from her bag. When you get out of that arena tomorrow, come find me. I'll patch you up. You think I'll make it out? I think you're tougher than you look, and I think might be used to people being afraid of him. You don't seem afraid. I'm terrified, Jin admitted, but I'm doing it anyway. That night Jin couldn't sleep. He lay in his bunk on the ship, staring at the ceiling. Had stopped arguing with him, but she'd made him promise to quit if it got too bad. Just submit and walk away. The debt would double, but he'd be alive. Jin didn't tell her that he wouldn't quit. He couldn't explain why exactly. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was stubbornness. Or maybe it was something deeper. He was tired of watching strong people hurt weak people. Tired of keeping his head down. Tired of running. For 3 minutes, he would stand his ground. Whatever happened after that, at least he would know he tried. The next day moved slowly. Jin checked his ship one last time. He recorded a message to his family back on Earth, just in case. He ate a small meal and drank water. Then he put on simple clothes, loose and comfortable, and walked to the arena. The building was packed. Hundreds of aliens filled the seats. The air smelled like sweat and excitement. Screens around the arena showed the odds. Was favored at 100-1. No one thought Jin had a chance. Met him at the entrance to the fighters' area. Last chance to back out. Not backing out. Didn't think so. She checked his arms and legs, making sure he wasn't injured before the fight even started. Remember, protect your head. Stay moving. Don't try to trade blows with him. You're faster than you think. Faster than... Maybe, in a different way. She looked like she wanted to say more, but the announcer's voice boomed through the arena. Ladies and beings of all classifications, tonight's main event, the undefeated champion of versus the human challenger, Jin. The crowd roared. Jin walked out into the bright lights of the arena. Across from him, entered through another door. The looked even bigger under the lights. His scales gleamed. His claws caught the light like knives. Looked at Jin and laughed. A human, they send me a human. This will take 10 seconds. Jin didn't respond. He moved to his corner and waited. His heart was pounding. His hands felt cold, but his mind was clear. The referee, Atal, called them to the center. No weapons. No killing strikes to vital areas. Fight ends at knockout or submission. 3 minutes on the clock. Understand? Both fighters nodded. Return to your corners. When the bell rings, fight. Jin walked back. He rolled his shoulders and shook out his arms. Across the arena, stretched casually, like this was just another easy night. The bell rang. The bell's sound was still echoing through the arena when Jin moved. He didn't wait. He didn't bow. He didn't take a traditional stance. He just exploded forward, closing the distance between himself and in 3 quick steps. Had been reaching up to acknowledge the crowd, his arms spread wide in his usual show. He was used to opponents circling him, testing, waiting. He was used to fear. Jin's first punch was a jab, straight and fast. It hit snout dead center. His eyes widened slightly. Before he could process what happened, Jin was already throwing the second strike. Across, his full body weight behind it, smashing into his jaw. The crowd's cheering stopped. Silence spread through the arena like a wave. Jin didn't stop. A hook to the temple, a hard body shot to where he guessed the ribs would be, then an uppercut that snapped his head back. 5 strikes, 5 hits. Stumbled backward, his hand going to his snout. His fingers came away green with blood. For 3 seconds, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The great, the undefeated champion was bleeding. Someone had touched him, more than touched. Someone had hit him 5 times before he even realized the fight had started. Looked at his own blood like he was seeing something impossible. His yellow eyes went wide, then narrow. Then they filled with rage. You, he growled. The word came out wrong, distorted. Jin had damaged something in his mouth. The charged, this time he wasn't playing. This time he was trying to kill. Jin moved. He'd been taught that footwork was more important than power. His old teacher master had repeated it 1,000 times. Your feet put you where you need to be. Your hands finish the job. His claws slashed through the air where Jin's head had been a moment before. Jin was already sliding left, his rear foot pivoting. He threw a kick to his knee, not hard enough to break it, but hard enough to hurt. The roared and spun with incredible speed. His tail, thick and muscular, whipped around at waist height. Jin saw it coming but couldn't dodge completely. The tail caught him in the ribs and sent him flying across the arena floor. Pain exploded through Jin's side. Something cracked. Ribs, probably. He rolled and got to his feet, fighting to breathe. "Now you die slowly," said. He advanced more carefully now, his posture lower, his hands up. Jin backed away, buying time for his head to clear. The crowd was going insane. Beings from a dozen species were on their feet, screaming in languages Jin didn't understand. He caught sight of in the stands, her hands over her mouth. Stood next to her, watching with the intense focus of someone calculating injuries. Lunged again. This time Jin didn't try to trade blows. He ducked under a strike that would have taken his head off, moved inside this guard, and hammered short punches into his ribs. 1, 2, 3 hits before grabbed him and threw him away. Jin hit the ground hard but rolled with it like he'd been taught. Always keep moving. Always get up. "You're fast for a human," admitted, "but you're still just a human, weak, soft." Jin didn't waste breath on words. He moved in again, this time faking a high kick that made raise his guard, then switching to a low sweep that took the legs out from under him. Went down. For the first time in his fighting career, hit the floor during a match. The arena went silent again. Then the noise came back twice as loud. But was already getting up. He was hurt, angry, but not finished, not even close. They circled each other. Jin's ribs screamed with every breath. Sweat ran into his eyes. His knuckles were bleeding from hitting scales, but he was still standing. The clock on the arena wall showed 1 minute, 20 seconds had passed. "I underestimated you," said. "I won't make that mistake again." He attacked with a combination that Jin barely saw. Claw strike to the face, knee to the gut, tail sweep low. Jin blocked the first, took the second and jumped over the third, but was ready for that. His hand shot up and grabbed Jin's ankle midair. The slammed Jin into the ground so hard the floor cracked. Then he lifted him and slammed him again. And again. Jin's vision went gray. His ears rang. He tasted blood. Dropped him and stepped back. "Submit, you fought well, there's no shame in submission." Jin pushed himself up on shaking arms. Blood dripped from his nose and mouth. His right eye was swelling shut. Everything hurt. "No," he said. "Why?" actually sounded curious. "You proved your point, no one will mock you now. Submit and live." "Because," Jin coughed, spitting blood, "you hurt that merchant. You break people who can't fight back. Someone has to show you that you can bleed." He stood up, his stance wobbling but determined. Tilted his head, studying this strange human. "We are different, you and I fight because I am strong. Why do you fight?" "Because I'm not," Jin said simply. They moved together again. This time it was different. Wasn't trying to end it quickly anymore. He was testing Jin, almost respectful, and Jin stopped trying to just survive. He fought to win. The next minute was brutal. Jin landed strikes that would have knocked out most humans. His powerful blows connected again and again, each one threatening to end the fight. But Jin had learned something important. He'd learned timing. Were fast. Their reaction time was impressive by galactic standards, but they reacted the same way every time. It was trained, reflexive, predictable. Humans were different. Humans adapted. Humans learned. Jin started mixing up his combinations. High then low. Fast then slow. 3 strikes then pause then 2 more. He fought like he was having a conversation, each exchange teaching him something new about his opponent. Began to slow down just slightly. The constant adaptation, the unpredictable rhythm was wearing on him. He was used to opponents who fought in patterns. Jin fought in chaos. 2 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock. Jin saw his opening. Threw a high strike with his right hand. Instead of dodging away, Jin stepped in close, inside the arc of the attack. He drove an elbow into his throat, then spun and delivered a back kick to the knee with everything he had left. Dropped to one knee. His hand went to his throat, gasping. The arena fell silent. Even the referee seemed frozen. Jin stood over him, fists raised, ready to strike again if needed. But he waited. Looked up at him. There was no more rage in his eyes, just something like wonder. The bell rang. 3 minutes. The fight was over. Jin had survived. The referee rushed forward, checking on, then looking at Jin with disbelief. The human survives. By the rules of the arena, his debt is cleared. The crowd erupted. Half were cheering, amazed at what they'd witnessed. The other half were booing, angry at the upset, angry about lost bets. Jin tried to walk toward his corner, but his legs gave out. He dropped to his knees. Immediately was there, medical kit in hand, right behind her. "Don't move," commanded, scanning him with a medical device. 3 broken ribs, concussion, internal bruising, fractured wrist. "You're an idiot." "But I'm alive," Jin managed to say. "Barely." Across the arena was still on one knee. Other had come down to help him, but he waved them away. He stood up slowly, touched his bleeding face, and looked at Jin. Then did something no one expected. He bowed, a small, precise bow of respect. Jin, using for support, bowed back. "Can you walk?" asked. "I don't think so." "Then we carry you. Come on, we need to get you to medical before something important starts bleeding internally." They helped him up, each taking a side. As they moved toward the exit, Jin looked back one more time, was watching him, that same expression of wonder still on his face. Jin had come here to survive 3 minutes. He'd done that. But something else had happened in that arena. Something that would spread through the station, through the sector, maybe through the whole galaxy. The undefeated champion had been defeated. Not beaten, not quite, but touched, bloodied, brought to his knees. And everyone had seen it happen. As and carried him into the medical bay, Jin heard the crowd still arguing, still shouting, still trying to understand what they'd witnessed. He'd worry about what came next later. Right now, everything hurt too much to think. But deep down, beneath the pain and exhaustion, Jin felt something he hadn't felt in years. Pride. He'd stood his ground, he'd faced the monster, and he'd survived. For 3 minutes, he'd been exactly who he needed to be. That was enough. Jin woke up in a medical bed. The room was small and white and smelled like antiseptic. His entire body felt like one giant bruise. When he tried to move, pain shot through his ribs. "Stay still," his voice came from somewhere to his left. "You've got 3 broken ribs and I just finished putting them back together. If you move wrong, you'll undo my work." Jin turned his head carefully, sat in a chair next to his bed looking tired. "How long was I out?" 4 hours. I gave you something for the pain and let you sleep." She held up a scanner and checked his vitals. "You'll live, which is more than anyone expected." "My ship?" "Still docked, still yours. The debt was cleared as soon as the fight ended. Is there now, making sure nobody tries to mess with it." Jin closed his eyes in relief. They'd done it. They were free to go. "You should see the station right now," continued, a strange tone in her voice. "It's chaos out there. Half the population thinks you're a hero. The other half thinks you cheated somehow. There are actual arguments happening in the corridors." "Cheated how?" "They can't figure out how you hit so many times, are supposed to be too fast. Some people are saying you used illegal tech or drugs or that the fight was rigged." She smiled a little. "Of course, the ones who were actually there know the truth. You were just faster." "I'm not faster than a..." "No, but you're faster at the start. That's what figured out. She's been talking to everyone who'll listen about it. Something about reaction times and visual processing. Pulled out her data pad and showed him a recording. It was standing in what looked like a crowded bar, talking to a group of aliens. She held up diagrams on her own pad, pointing excitedly. Human reaction time from seeing something to moving is about zero point 0.2 seconds, was saying in the recording. Reaction time is 0.3 seconds. It's not a huge difference, but it matters in the first exchange, especially if the human doesn't wait for the to be ready. Jin didn't follow arena customs. He just attacked. Brain was still processing that the fight had started when Jin's fifth punch landed. An alien in the crowd, one of the traders, asked a question, but is stronger, more experienced. How did the humans survive after that? Adaptation, said confidently. Humans are really good at learning patterns and changing their approach. Fought the same way he always does. Jin kept changing. Different timing, different combinations, different angles. It's like fighting someone who's playing a different game than you. The recording ended, put her data pad away. She's gotten very popular explaining all this. Half the scientists on the station want to talk to her now. Jin smiled, then winced as it hurt his split lip. Good for her. She deserves attention for her work. There was a knock on the door, stood up, suddenly tense. Come in. The door opened, entered, ducking to fit through the human-sized doorway. Jin tried to sit up, his body screaming in protest, moved between him and the. He's not fighting you again. He can barely move. I'm not here to fight, said quietly. Didn't move, then why are you here? Looked past her to Jin. I need to speak with him, alone. Not happening. Jin said, it's okay. It's not okay, he nearly killed you. And I nearly killed him, let him speak. Looked between them, then sighed in frustration. I'll be right outside. You have 5 minutes. She left, but Jin noticed she left the door open a crack. Moved carefully into the room like he was afraid of breaking something. Up close, Jin could see the injuries. Snout was swollen. His jaw was discolored. He moved stiffly, favoring his left leg. You hurt me, said simply. You hurt me too, Jin replied. Yes, but I have been hurt before. In training when I was young, before I learned to fight properly. But in real combat, in the arena, never, not once in 200 fights. Sat down in the chair, had used the metal creaking under his weight. You know what that does to a fighter. Makes you confident. Makes you arrogant, makes you stupid. Touched his jaw carefully. I thought I was unbeatable because no one could touch me. But the truth is, I was unbeatable because everyone I fought was slower than me. They all fought the same way. The same patterns, the same techniques, taught by the same traditions. And I didn't, Jin said. You didn't wait, you didn't show respect, you didn't follow any customs, you just attacked. Eyes met Jin's. It was brilliant. Jin hadn't expected that. What? All my life, I've been told that are the best fighters in the galaxy. Our reflexes, our strength, our warrior culture. We are superior. But you showed me that superiority is just another weakness. It makes you predictable. So why are you here? Was quiet for a moment. In culture, there is a tradition. The warrior who first draws your blood in honorable combat becomes your blade teacher. They have shown you something you didn't know about yourself. We are bound by respect. I'm not. No, but the tradition still matters to me. You taught me that I have been fighting wrong. Teach me to fight right. Jin stared at him. You want me to train you? Yes. I can barely walk. Then when you can walk, teach me then. I will wait. Stood up. Also, you should know, the syndicate is not happy. The boss, he lost a lot of money on that fight. He's looking for ways to punish you without breaking the arena's rules. Of course he is. I have broken my contract with him. I no longer work for the syndicate. Jin felt his eyes widen despite the pain. Why would you do that? Because I will not work for people who use strength to hurt the weak. I thought I was different from them. I thought I was a warrior, but I was just their weapon. You made me see that. Breaking that contract is dangerous. They'll come after you. Showed his teeth in what might have been a smile. Let them try. I'm still strong, even if I am no longer undefeated. He moved toward the door, then paused. Thank you, Jin, for the fight, for the lesson, for the blood. He left. Jin lay there trying to process what had just happened. Came back in looking suspicious. What did he want? To thank me, I think. Don't thank people. Maybe this one does now. The door opened again. This time it was carrying a bag of food and looking excited. You're awake. I brought you something to eat. The station's galley had actual rice, can you believe it? Oh, and you need to see this. She pulled out her data pad and showed Jin a news feed. The fight was everywhere. Video clips, analysis, commentary. Human defeats unbeatable champion in a dozen languages. The fight that changed everything. New species enters combat rankings. It's not just our station, said, scrolling through feeds. This is spreading through the whole sector. Other humans are seeing it. Other species are talking about it. You're famous, Jin. I don't want to be famous. I just wanted to pay my debt and leave. Well, too bad. Look at this one. She pulled up another article. 3 human fighters have already challenged other unbeatable champions on different stations. And this, from a human military recruiter. They're getting applications from young people who saw your fight and want to join up. Jin felt something cold in his stomach. I didn't mean to start anything. You stood up, said quietly. In a place where everyone keeps their head down, you stood up. Of course you started something. There was another knock on the door. This time, a human man entered. He was tall and broad-shouldered, wearing station security armor. His badge said security officer. Jin, he asked. That's me. I'm here to warn you. The syndicate boss is putting out word that you're not to receive any services on this station. No fuel, no supplies, no repairs. He's trying to trap you here. Can he do that? Officially, no. The station is neutral, but he's got enough people scared that they won't help you anyway. Paused. However, there's about 24 humans on this station. We've been here for years, keeping quiet, not making waves. We watched your fight. We're done keeping quiet. What does that mean? It means we're pooling resources. Fuel, supplies, whatever you need. And we're organizing. If the syndicate wants to push humans around, they're going to find out we push back. I don't want anyone getting hurt because of me, Jin said. Too late for that. You showed everyone that humans aren't easy targets. Now we have to prove it wasn't just a fluke, smiled grimly. Besides breaking his contract, that's created a power vacuum. The syndicate is weaker now. This is our chance. After left, Jin lay back in the bed, exhausted. This is getting complicated. Yes, agreed. But sometimes complicated is better than simple. Simple meant everyone stayed scared. Complicated means things might actually change. Sat on the edge of his bed, careful not to jostle him. Your ship will be ready to leave tomorrow. I'll make it to my conference thanks to you. But Jin, what are you going to do after you drop me off? Jin thought about it, about wanting training, about humans organizing on the station, about all those news feeds spreading across the sector. I don't know yet, he said honestly, but I think things are different now for all of us. Jin spent one more day recovering in the medical bay. In that time, the station transformed around him. What started as whispers became open conversations. What began as careful glances became bold actions. The change started small. A human trader refused to pay the syndicate's protection fee. When enforcers came to collect, other humans stood with him. Not fighting, just standing. The enforcers left. Then a merchant, the same one whose leg had broken, reopened his shop. He put up a sign that said protected by community, not credits. Within hours, other non-human merchants did the same. Brought Jin reports as they came in. There's a group forming. Humans mostly, but others are joining. They're calling it the Station Free Trade Association. Very official-sounding name for what's basically people saying they won't be bullied anymore. And the syndicate? Jin asked. Confused, angry, but weaker than before. Breaking his contract was huge. He was their muscle, their fear factor. Now he's refusing to work for them and people are asking why. If even thinks the syndicate is wrong, maybe it is. On his second morning in the medical bay, Jin was finally cleared to walk. His ribs were wrapped tight and every movement still hurt, but he could move. Helped him get dressed in clean clothes. You need to take it easy for at least 2 weeks, she said. No fighting, no heavy lifting, no stupid hero stuff. I'll try. You're a terrible liar. Jin smiled. I'm just going to get my ship ready and leave. That's not stupid hero stuff. We'll see. When he walked out of the medical bay, he found a crowd waiting. 24 humans, maybe more. Men and women of different ages, some wearing work coveralls, others in trader outfits, a few in security uniforms, stood at the front. We wanted to see you off properly, said, and to say thank you. I didn't do anything special. You did something none of us had the guts to do. You stood up. An older woman pushed forward. She had gray hair and wore the uniform of a station mechanic. My name is, I've been on this station for 12 years. The first 8 years I paid the syndicate fees and kept quiet. The last 4 years I paid more and kept quieter. Yesterday I stopped paying. Today I still have my shop. Because of you. Other voices joined in, each sharing similar stories. Jin felt overwhelmed. He'd just been trying to solve his own problem, not start a movement. Appeared from the crowd, carrying her bags. Ship's all loaded. We should get going before the syndicate figures out how to stop us. The group escorted Jin and through the station to the docking bay. Along the way, other beings watched. Some aliens looked curious, others looked hopeful, a few looked angry. At the docking bay, Jin's ship sat ready. Next to it stood. The crowd tensed. Hands moved to weapons that weren't there. It's okay, Jin said quickly. He walked toward trying not to limp too obviously. Held out a small data chip. I have been thinking about our conversation, about training. I realize now that I cannot train with you if I stay here. The syndicate will use me against your people, so I am leaving. Leaving to go where? Wherever you go. I have cleared my name with the embassy. I am no longer bound to this station. I would like to travel with you to learn from you, if you will have me. Jin stared at the massive warrior. You want to come with us? Yes. My ship has 1 passenger cabin. You wouldn't even fit. I will sleep in cargo. I do not need much. This is insane, said Jin. We can't take a warrior with us. But Jin was thinking about how the galaxy saw humans, thinking about what might change if a human and a traveled together as equals, not as master and servant or conqueror and conquered. Can you cook? Jin asked. Looked confused. Cook. Prepare food. Can you do it? I have prepared rations. Good enough. You can sleep in cargo, but you have to help with ship maintenance and meals, and no fighting unless absolutely necessary. Deal. His eyes brightened. Deal. Stepped forward. You're really taking him with you. Yeah, is that a problem? No, it's perfect, smiled. The great, traveling with a human, learning human fighting techniques. The syndicate will lose their minds. The group helped load belongings, which turned out to be almost nothing. A bag of clothes, a few weapons, and a data pad. They set up a space in the cargo bay with padding for him to sleep on. Pulled Jin aside before he boarded. You know this is crazy, right? Most things worth doing are crazy. You nearly died 2 days ago. And now I'm leaving just like I planned. Mission accomplished. She punched his arm lightly, carefully avoiding his injuries. You're going to change things, Jin. Maybe not on purpose, but you will. Try not to get yourself killed doing it. No promises. He hugged her, wincing at the pain in his ribs, then climbed aboard his ship. Was already strapped in the co-pilot seat. Sat in the cargo area, his large frame squeezed into the space but looking content. Jin ran through the departure sequence. The ship hummed to life. Through the viewport, he could see the crowd still watching, waving. "Ready?" he asked. "Ready," said. "Let us depart," added from the back. The ship lifted off and glided out of the docking bay. As they cleared the station, Jin could see the massive structure in his rear cameras, slowly shrinking. Nexus, where he'd arrived a few days ago just trying to make a delivery. Now he was leaving with a reputation, a student, and something that felt like hope. "What do you think will happen to the station?" asked. "I think and the others will keep organizing. The syndicate will fight back, but without they're weaker. It'll take time, but things will change." Because of one fight. Because someone finally said no. That's all it ever takes. They jumped to faster-than-light travel, the stars stretching into lines of light. Jin plotted a course to conference, then set the autopilot. 3 days to New Haven Station, he announced. Then you're at your conference and I'm back to regular cargo runs. "Will they be regular?" asked. "After everything?" Jin didn't answer right away. He pulled up his communication system and started recording a message. "What are you doing?" asked. "Something I should have done a long time ago." He addressed the message to the Human Trader Network, an informal system where human cargo haulers and merchants shared information. He kept it simple. "This is Jin. Most of you have probably seen the fight by now. I'm not special. I'm not a trained soldier or a professional fighter. I'm just a cargo hauler who got stuck in a bad situation, but I learned something important. They underestimate us. All of them. They think we're weak because we didn't evolve on a heavy-gravity world. They think we're slow because we don't have their reflexes. They think we're soft because we prefer talking to fighting. But here's what they don't know. We're fast where it matters. We adapt better than any species I've ever met. And when we decide to stand up, we don't back down easy. I'm not telling you to go pick fights. I'm just saying, don't let them push you around. Don't pay protection fees to criminals. Don't accept that some beings are just better than us. We've earned our place in this galaxy, same as anyone." They said no one had ever hit. Well, I hit him 5 times before he even noticed the fight began. And you know what I learned? Everyone bleeds. Everyone can lose. Everyone has weaknesses. Even us. But our weakness is that we forget we're strong. Don't forget. He ended the recording and sent it out across the network. Within minutes, responses started coming back. Hundreds of them. Some thanking him, some sharing their own stories, some asking for advice. Appeared in the doorway to the cockpit. "You are spreading a message." "Yeah, is that a problem?" "No, it is good. Warriors should share knowledge." He paused. "I have a question. When you hit me those 5 times, you knew it would make me angry, yes?" "I knew it was possible." "But you did it anyway. Why?" Jin thought about it. "Because anger makes people predictable, and because I needed you to take me seriously. If I'd started defensively, you would have ended it in seconds. But by attacking first, by surprising you, I changed the fight." Nodded slowly. "This is the adaptation speaks of. You did not fight the way I expected, so I could not fight the way I trained." "Exactly. Teach me this. Teach me to be unexpected." For the next 3 days, in the small spaces of the cargo ship between stars, Jin began teaching everything he knew about fighting. Not just techniques, but philosophy. How to read opponents, how to adapt, how to turn weakness into strength. Was a quick student, hungry to learn. And in teaching him, Jin realized he was learning too. Seeing his own knowledge through someone else's eyes made him understand it better. Watch them practice in the cargo bay, taking notes for her research. "This is fascinating. Cross-species combat training. No one's ever documented this before." "Will you write about it?" Jin asked during a break. "If you don't mind." This could change how we think about human-alien interactions. Sure, just change the names. Actually, I was thinking I'd use the real names. The whole galaxy already knows about Jin who fought, might as well embrace it. They arrived at New Haven Station on schedule. It was a larger, more official station than Nexus. Medical facilities, research centers, and diplomatic offices filled its sectors. As they docked, station security contacted them. Ship registry shows you're carrying a passenger. Is he a prisoner or under guard? Neither, Jin replied. He's a friend. There was a pause on the other end. Understood, cleared for standard docking. They helped unload her research materials. She hugged both Jin and, surprisingly. Thank you, she said. Both of you. Not just for the ride, but for showing me that different species can actually understand each other. You helped us understand it too, Jin said. Good luck with your conference. Good luck with whatever you're doing next. Something tells me it's going to be interesting. She wasn't wrong. Over the next 6 months, Jin and traveled the trade routes together. Word spread about the human and the working as partners. They stopped at stations where Jin picked up cargo jobs and trained with local fighters who wanted to learn. The message Jin had sent kept spreading. Human traders began organizing, refusing to pay protection to criminals. When the criminals pushed back, other species sometimes helped. The old hierarchies began to crack. Jin started getting different kinds of job offers. Security work, training contracts. Even a few military organizations reached out, wanting to study human combat integration. He turned most of them down. He was still a cargo hauler at heart, but he accepted a few teaching jobs, showing other humans how to defend themselves, how to move with confidence in a galaxy that often saw them as easy targets. A year after the fight, Jin received a message from the Station Free Trade Association had successfully removed the syndicate from Nexus. The old boss had been arrested by station security on multiple charges. The station was actually free now. You started this, the message said. Thank you. Jin showed the message to, who was practicing forms in the cargo bay. Do you regret it? Asked. Your life is more complicated now. No, complicated is better than easy sometimes. Easy means nothing changes. You have changed the galaxy, Jin. Maybe not all of it, but the parts around you. We changed it. You and me and everyone who decided to stand up. Smiled, showing his teeth. Yes, we changed it, and we will continue to change it. Jin looked out at the stars streaming past, thinking about all the stations out there, all the humans keeping their heads down, all the beings waiting for someone to show them that change was possible. One fight couldn't fix everything. One person couldn't save everyone. But one person could show others that standing up was possible, that the strong weren't as unbeatable as they seemed, that everyone from every world had something valuable to contribute. 3 minutes in an arena had become a message that spread across light years. They said no one had ever hit. Jin had landed 5 strikes before they even knew the fight had started. And in doing so, he'd started a different kind of fight, one that would take years, maybe generations. But it was a fight worth fighting, because everyone deserved to stand tall in their own way, without fear, without submission. Even humans, especially humans. The galaxy was learning that now. One punch at a time.